1, 2, 3.
Welcome to Video Namaste.
We'll do it right after 3.
Welcome
to Video Namaste. I don't.
It's fucking stinking.
Because we don't shake hands.
What's this?
I don't know.
Is this fucking Predator? Welcome
to Video. Do you remember the first time you made a true connection with your uncle? Chances are it was over Stone Cold starring Brian the Boz Bosworth. Then again, that may have just been me. It was definitely just me. But the point is, cult films, like Stone Cold, get you talking. They get me talking, and they definitely get Finlay talking.
So what are cult films? Are they films whose storytelling themes or visual style was released at a time that didn't really appreciate them?
Jesus, how long you figure this has been in the ice?
Or are they older classics that people bore the whole of you to make you watch? People like us?
Well, it's a wee bit of both. It's a broad spectrum, but it's a niche spectrum.
The hell that thing get in here?
Gentlemen!
Some films are just destined to be cult films. Look at your The Crow, for instance. It was made by someone from a subculture for that subculture. Alex Proyas, big stinking goth, made it for big stinking goths like me and Finlay.
Did he just call me a goth? He's right, but that's a good thing. See, the first time I watched The Crow, I felt like I finally had a sense of community, you know? And it doesn't matter where you stay, even if it's in a tiny town. If there's one person in that tiny wee town that you can speak to about that film, that's all that matters. Cult films are about bringing people together, no matter how big, no matter how small, and no matter what you enjoy, there's always something out there for you.
So taking a dive into cult film can seem quite daunting to start with, but don't worry, there's something for everybody. You've got exploitation, ozploitation, anime. I'm not talking about anime. You've got Italian Rambo films. In fact, you bang two words together, I guarantee you there's already a subgenre for it, right? So name a country and name something that scares you. So Spanish dadcore.
Cult films aren't just the weird films or the hyper-gory stuff. There's facets of it that can and will satisfy anyone's taste.
Throwing at me if you want, hashhead. I got all 5 senses and I slept last night. That puts me 6 up on the lot of you.
It's easy, bro.
Can I help you?
No, I can look myself.
Okay.
It used to be really difficult to get a hold of these cult films. You'd have to go to a video shop where some lovely sweaty would direct you to another video shop that usually stocked the film you were looking for.
Hell Merchants. Good choice.
I don't like horror movies.
Or you'd have to stay up well past your bedtime so that you could watch Movie Drome on Channel 4. But now we're living in a truly blessed age where you've got companies like Arrow, 88 Film, Second Sight, all putting out belters of cult films, and they're basically giving you a list of films to watch. It's all there. You can get most of them at HMV nowadays as well. I mean, I own hundreds of them, and I know that Finlay owns hundreds of them.
It's an exciting time to be a fan of genres and cult cinema in general. Fair enough, there's hunters out there, but don't worry, us at Video Namaste are going to be here to shepherd you up that mountain of films, because we are the sad bastards that watch all the special features. So stick with us and we'll keep you right.
My name is Claire Biddles and I'm going to talk about Xavier Dolan's Tom at the Farm. Tom at the Farm is the 4th film by Canadian author Xavier Dolan, and it tells the story of Tom, a Montreal hipster who travels to an isolated farm for his boyfriend's funeral, and he quickly integrates himself into the somewhat sinister lives of his late partner's family.
De toute façon, c'est quoi votre lien avec les Longchamps?
Famille.
Ah bon? Vous êtes un Longchamp Poudovski, vous?
Famille éloignée. C'est ma famille éloignée. J'étais là pour les funérailles.
Oh.
His boyfriend's mother doesn't know that her son was gay, although his manipulative brother does, and Tom becomes embroiled in his intricate mind games, resulting in a psychosexual Stockholm Syndrome-esque relationship.
Hey, mets pas de parfum. J'ai senti ton parfum, puis le parfum c'est pour les noces, pas pour les funérailles. OK?
I love all of Dolan's films, but Tom at the Farm is my favourite and particularly special to me because of the way queer desire is transposed to a genre setting. So it's an explicitly queer reimagining of a Hitchcock film or a 90s erotic thriller. I'm a huge fan of schlocky thrillers, so it's exciting to see desires parallel to my own play out in a setting that is more often than not wholly heterosexual. It's also refreshing to see queer desire presented as dangerous and messy by a queer filmmaker, so dangerous on our own terms.
Is that far? Please. Far.
Aside from queer politics of desire and genre thrills, I love Tom at the Farm for all the reasons I love all of Dolan's films. So the soundtrack is killer, the costumes are on point, and Dolan himself, who, ever the egomaniac, cast himself as the lead in all of his early films, is charismatic and sexy as hell.
Hiya! Welcome to Video Namaste.
See,
that's honking, that is absolutely honking.
Right.
Don't touch my dad. Don't touch my dad. That's my dad's camera. That's my dad's camera.
Right,
You go to Hong Kong. You go to Hong Kong. Don't touch it.
Your dad's not.
Don't touch it.
It's not been to Hong Kong, Finlay.
Look, he has been. How many times have I got to tell you?
I've seen
he's
him.
been to Hong Kong. Look at my ma. She's from Hong Kong.
Welcome. I feel like a skier.
I don't know what to do. So we're talking, saying welcome to Video Namaste.
Yep.
This is a show about films. We want to say basically like we want to introduce people to films, whether it be cult, oddities.
Aye.
And
because
like,
we're no Johnny Vaughan.
We're no Johnny Vaughan.
I mean,
we're no Johnny Vegas either. Although we are potato men.
Michael Mann's 1986 chiller Manhunter, based on Thomas Harris's Red Dragon, is a tale of duality and obsession. It's about entering the mindset of a killer and flooding those closed doors in your mind with the blood and oil of your past and your biggest flaws. Sometimes a single scene is all you need to explain everything a film stands for. In Manhunter, it's a scene where FBI criminologist Will Graham meets Hannibal Lecter for the first time since catching him years ago. He's here to get Lecter's help to try catch a new serial killer on the loose and has to face his own talent and obsession in the process. Legendary cinematographer Dante Spinotti's new Italian style, mixed with Mann's clinical, deep directing style, really work their way into pinging those wee receivers in your brain, as every technical aspect of this scene is giving out coded messages. When Will first sits down to confront him, Lecter sits up to face him. The vertical bars separating the two minds, but the symmetry of the shot of each character creates an almost even dynamic. Who's really in charge here? It's one of the first hints that Graham is going to have to return to his unique ability to think like a killer and blur the lines between stability and instability. The acting between William Peterson and Brian Cox is a tense playoff, a strange equilibrium of power dynamics and odd pleasantries between killer and catcher, the needle between control and animosity lightly dancing like someone's tapping the dashboard. Lecter's
I'm glad you came.
being a hint at his own intellectual dissatisfaction and the apple to sate his own vanity, to meet again the mind that caught him. Will's reluctant pushing to Lecter's vanity to look at the Tooth Fairy's file, while also trying to fortify his own cockiness, instantly falls prey to the twinkling, lost in mystery soundtrack and is brought to earth by
Dream much, Will?
Lecter's cell is a cold, sobering white, an empty high-key nothingness designed to dull the stimulation of the mind and nullify any negative thought. But as they continue to talk, Graham looks over some of Hannibal's items, his sink, his books and pens, for us to notice that they're lit in either a hot pink or midnight purple. Spinotti's explained that this is to help the audience see the returning of this sickness in Graham's mind, the infection of his past returning, the past that led him to catch Lecter, and the one he'll need to return to. The exhalation of a specific line by Hannibal, inhaled by Graham, that makes him realise this. Lecter mentions smells. Smells can be inviting, they can be concealers, but they can also be nostalgic. A single smell can take you back into memories of childhood or an old lover. Lecter first mentions Will's aftershave.
And that shaving lotion is something a child would select. It has a ship on the bottle, doesn't it?
Something seemingly throwaway at first, an easily discarded jibe at the cheapness of it, a smell too classless for Lecter. But Lecter's line as Will leaves calls back to it to fully cross the last tee of the scene.
You came here to look at me, to get the old scent back again, didn't you?
Will's been caught. He knows he had to admit to himself he needed the insight from his infernal nemesis, but he never knew he had to admit that he needed to see Lecter to put that skin on again, to feel the way he did when he caught him, to transform himself once more.
The reason you caught me, Will, It will just delight. You want the scent? Smell yourself.
Hiya, this is a 30-second review. We're talking about Southland Tales.
It's a send-up of how fickle Hollywood can be and how the lines between politics and sponsorship and entertainment can all blur.
Also, it's got a stinking font.
So something about Southland Tales, that's what's made this film a cult film, is the response at the time. So it's gained notoriety through things like it getting walkouts and boos at Sundance.
Was it Cannes?
What do you reckon that a person that boos a film at Cannes wears? Definitely sandals.
No t-shirt, no shirt, but a waistcoat. And the ribbon for a fedora around the
like
wrist.
A sexy waiter. Giallo is fundamentally an Italian product. The word itself literally means yellow, which was the colour of the books that inspired the genre. These were pulpy, trashy novels that often favoured things like shagging and murders over logic. The books were wildly popular in Italy, so the progression to the big screen was natural. In 1960, a guy called Mario Bava made what is widely considered to be the first Giallo film, The Girl Who Knew Too Much. Giallo didn't experience any commercial success until the 70s when a guy called Dario Argento stepped in and made again what is widely considered to be the best Giallo film, Suspiria. Giallo is a very specific style of murder mystery. The protagonist is often an out-of-towner who witnesses a murder and then has their own integrity and sense of reality completely scrutinised by locals and authorities, to the point of mania, to the point where the protagonist is forced to solve the murder themselves. The murderer is often masked and begloved, and you usually don't find out who they are until the big Scooby-Doo reveal at the end. The set design, the lighting, the violence, it's all so incredibly over the top, and it really compounds this sense of operatic melodrama and surrealism that makes Giallo its own particularly unique and beautiful subgenre. If Giallo sounds like it's something that could be for you, what I'd recommend doing is looking into 3 directors in particular: Mario Bava, Dario Argento and Lucio Fulci. They're a good jumping off point, and from there you can get into the more obscure directors and films. I've introduced a few folk to Giallo, and every single one of them have had an issue with one thing in particular.
Già ucciso. E sento che ucciderai ancora.
And that's the dubbing.
La quarta dalla sua scomparsa.
E I bambini li tenessero a casa.
Dopo gli infruttuosi tentativi.
E chi ci va di mezzo?
Nelle vicinanze.
I get it. I get that it can be quite jarring for people, but I personally like it. It's just another aspect to Giallo that makes it what it is. Minor gripes aside, there really is nothing else like Giallo. And if you're into big sideburns and brown shoes, then this genre is for you. Okay, and one, two, I'll just count it down. Right, 1, 2, it's the Wayne's World thing. Right, 1.
I'm just going to nod.
Hi.
Welcome.
Just got to punch the grass for a wee bit, right? Is this disrespectful?
Aye.
I'm angry though.